New research says your nerves can grow back, but only if you stop doing this one common mistake after 60. Have you ever felt like your nerves are betraying you? A strange burning in your feet, tingling fingers that won't calm down, or maybe just a deep numbness that makes it hard to tell if your foot's on the floor or not. If you've been told this is just aging, that nerve damage is permanent, you're not alone. But what if the real cause was something missing from your plate? Here's the truth. Your body was built to repair itself, even your nerves, but only if you give it the right tools. That's what today's story is all about. We're diving deep into a quiet epidemic that affects millions over 60, peripheral neuropathy. And more importantly, we're going to explore the most overlooked path to healing, a group of powerful nutrients known as vitamins for nerve repair. You see, most people don't realize this, but your nerves can grow back. They can reconnect. They can regenerate, but not with guesswork and certainly not with just painkillers. That's why in this video we're going to uncover the top 7 nerve regeneration supplements backed by research and explained in a way that makes sense. You'll learn how one overlooked vitamin can rebuild your nerve coating from the inside out, why another can stop that burning pain in your toes, and which combination may help you feel your feet again when you wake up in the morning. And stick with me, because later on, I'll share a real story of someone just like you who couldn't feel his hands for years until he changed just a few simple things. So if you've ever wondered, is it too late? Can I still heal? Can I walk without fear again? The answer is closer than you think. Let's start at the root and understand what your nerves have been trying to tell you all along. Before we fix your nerves, let's understand why they fail silently and what they've been begging for. Let's begin with number 1. What really causes nerve damage? It's more than just blood sugar. Let me ask you something. When you think about nerve damage, what's the first thing that comes to mind? For most people, it's diabetes, high blood sugar, maybe genetics. But here's the truth. That's only one small piece of a much bigger puzzle. What if your nerves are under attack and you don't even know it? You see, peripheral neuropathy, the kind that causes tingling, burning, or numbness in your feet or hands, doesn't just happen overnight. It builds up silently, slowly, like water wearing down a rock. And while diabetes is a big player, there are hidden culprits that almost no one talks about. One of the biggest, chronic inflammation. Not the kind that shows up as a red bump, but the kind that lingers deep inside your body, fueled by years of processed foods, seed oils, lack of movement, and stress that never quite goes away. This kind of inflammation damages the tiny blood vessels that feed your nerves. And when nerves don't get oxygen and nutrients, they begin to fray like an old electrical wire. Another sneaky cause: toxins. Heavy metals from old plumbing, pesticides in non-organic food, even air pollution in crowded cities. These can damage your mitochondria, the tiny engines inside your nerve cells, and without energy, your nerves can't fire properly. Now here's something I learned the hard way. Sometimes it's not what you're doing, but what you're not doing. Deficiencies in essential nutrients like B1, B12, and magnesium quietly starve your nervous system. Your body may be eating, but your nerves are still hungry. One study in the journal Neurology International found that over 30% of older adults with nerve pain had multiple nutrient deficiencies, not just one. It's like trying to build a house with no nails, no wood, and no workers. You're set up to fail before you even begin. Real-life moment. My friend Linda used to blame her numb feet on just getting older. But it turned out her B vitamin levels were tanked, and her diet was missing the very ingredients her nerves were crying out for. When she cleaned up her meals, added targeted nerve regeneration supplements, and got serious about sleep and stress, her feelings started coming back within weeks. Not perfectly, but enough to feel like herself again. Here's the takeaway. Nerve damage isn't just a blood sugar story. It's a lifestyle story, a missing nutrient story, a stress story. And once you understand that, you finally get your power back. And that's where our journey really begins. Because up next, we'll dive into one of the most overlooked yet powerful vitamins for nerve repair, a nutrient that acts like a fire extinguisher for inflammation and helps calm the misfiring signals in damaged nerves. Let's look at number 2, vitamin B1 benfotiamine, the nerve fire extinguisher. You won't believe what this one nutrient can do. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt that pins and needles sensation in your feet even when you haven't moved? Or maybe your legs burn at night, making it hard to sleep. What if the problem isn't your nerves breaking down, but your body running out of its most basic fuel? That's where vitamin B1 comes in, specifically in a special form called benfotiamine. Now here's the catch. Most people have heard of B1, but don't realize how critical it is for calming inflamed, irritated nerves. Think of benfotiamine as the fire extinguisher for your nervous system. When your blood sugar runs too high, even slightly, it creates harmful byproducts called AGEs, advanced glycation end products. These sticky molecules gum up your blood vessels and choke off the oxygen supply to your nerves. Benfotiamine steps in to stop that fire. It doesn't just float around. It actively helps block the formation of AGEs and reduces oxidative stress, the kind that makes your nerves feel like they're sizzling. A study published in Diabetes Care showed that people taking benfotiamine had reduced nerve pain, less numbness, and even improvements in sensation, especially in the feet and hands in just 6 to 12 weeks. Here's the beauty of it. Benfotiamine is fat-soluble, which means it can pass through the protective myelin sheath and get deep into the nerve cell right where the damage lives. That's why it's so much more effective than regular B1. Real-life story. My neighbor Paul had diabetes for over a decade. He thought nerve pain was just his new normal. But his daughter, a nurse, suggested he try 300 mg of benfotiamine twice a day. He added it to his routine, no other big changes. And within 3 weeks, he noticed he wasn't wincing when his socks rubbed his feet. It wasn't a miracle, but it was real, and it gave him hope. Lesson. You can't just pour water on nerve pain. You have to cool the fire at its source, and benfotiamine does exactly that. If you're dealing with burning, tingling, or numbness, ask yourself, am I giving my nerves the fuel they actually need? And just when you think that's powerful, wait until you meet the antioxidant that works hand in hand with B1, shielding your nerve cells from the inside out, and even helping regenerate damaged tissue. Coming up next, number 3, Alpha-Lipoic acid, the cell protector. You don't want to miss this one. Let me tell you something surprising. Most nerve damage doesn't just come from outside stress. It often starts at the cellular level deep in the mitochondria, where your nerve cells try to produce energy, but end up drowning in oxidative stress. What if there was a compound that could shield those fragile nerve cells right where the damage begins? That's the quiet power of alpha-lipoic acid, often called ALA for short. Alpha-lipoic acid is a natural antioxidant your body actually makes in small amounts, but with age, that production slows down, and nerves begin to feel the impact. Here's what makes ALA so special. It's both water-soluble and fat-soluble, which means it can travel anywhere in your body, right into the cell membrane, and even into the mitochondria, where it begins repairing and protecting the energy factories of your nerves. Now I know that sounds scientific, so here's the simple version. ALA helps clean up free radicals, the unstable molecules that damage nerve cells, interrupt signals, and make your feet feel like they're buzzing or burning. In one 2012 study published in the journal Diabetes and Metabolism, patients who took 600 mg of ALA daily for just 3 weeks reported reduced pain, improved sensitivity, and better nerve conduction speed. That's huge, because once your nerves can carry signals again, you don't just feel better, you function better. I remember Susan, a retired teacher who used to struggle with numb toes every winter. She tried creams, foot soaks, special socks. Nothing touched the nerve pain. Then she read about ALA in a health magazine, started taking it with her lunch, and after about a month, she told me, it felt like her feet woke up. Not fully cured, but not lifeless like before. She could feel the floor again, which made her feel connected to life in a whole new way. Lesson: Alpha-Lipoic acid doesn't numb the nerves. It helps restore them, protect them, and energize them at the root. If you've ever felt like your nerves are short-circuiting, don't just treat the surface, try nourishing the core. And speaking of core, there's one vitamin your nerves depend on even more than ALA, because it's what they use to rebuild their outer coating, the part that keeps every signal smooth and strong. Coming up next, number 4. Vitamin B12, the myelin rebuilder. And this one is essential, especially if you're over 60. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had that strange, tingly feeling in your hands or feet, like your skin is asleep but your mind is wide awake? What if the root cause wasn't your age, but a missing piece your nerves need just to stay alive? That's where vitamin B12 comes in, especially in its most active form, methylcobalamin. See, your nerves are like electrical wires. And just like wires need a rubber coating, your nerves need something called myelin, a protective layer that helps signals travel fast and clean. Without enough B12, that myelin begins to fray, leaving your nerves exposed, vulnerable, and struggling to send messages to your brain. That's when you start feeling numbness, tingling, balance issues, even memory fog. Now here's something that hit me hard. A study in the Journal of Neurology found that B12 deficiency is surprisingly common in older adults, even those who eat meat, because as we age, our stomach loses the acid needed to absorb it properly. That means your nerves could be starving for B12, even if your diet looks good on paper. Let me tell you about Harold. He was a retired engineer, sharp as a tack, but he'd started noticing he was bumping into doorways, losing his footing for no reason. He thought it was just getting older. His doctor checked his B12 and sure enough, he was way below optimal. 3 months after starting methylcobalamin B12 at 1000 mcg daily, his balance was back, his thinking clearer, and his wife said he even smiled more. Now here's something you need to know. Not all B12 supplements are created equal. Cyanocobalamin is cheaper, but your body has to convert it, and that process gets harder with age. Methylcobalamin is already active, ready to go, and much more effective for nerve regeneration. If you've been struggling with unexplained nerve pain, fatigue, or even mood swings, B12 might be the missing link. Because healing your nerves isn't just about stopping pain, it's about restoring the protective layers that let them thrive. But here's the kicker. Even with the right form of B12, many seniors still don't absorb it well. And the reason why is often overlooked. Coming up next, number 5. The silent saboteurs, why seniors can't absorb these vitamins well, and how to fix it starting today. Let me tell you a little secret. Most doctors don't explain taking the right vitamins doesn't always mean your body is using them. What if the very supplements you count on are passing through you without ever doing their job? This is something I wish I'd known earlier. You see, as we age, our digestive system slows down. The stomach produces less acid, the pancreas becomes less efficient, and the lining of our gut becomes less capable of absorbing nutrients. That's not your fault. It's not even unusual. It's just part of the natural aging process, but it comes with consequences. Let's take vitamin B12 again. To absorb it from food, your stomach needs something called intrinsic factor. But by age 60 or 70, many of us don't make enough of it. So even if you eat steak or eggs, or take a standard B12 pill, you might still be deficient. Same goes for nutrients like zinc, magnesium, and even alpha-lipoic acid. If your gut lining is inflamed from years of stress, sugar, or medications, you absorb far less than you think. Now here's something that surprised me. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that nearly 1/3 of older adults are low in B12, not because of poor diet, but because of poor absorption. It's like pouring water on a dry sponge that's coated in plastic. No matter how good the water is, it just rolls off. Let me share Betty's story. She was 74, had neuropathy in her feet, and had been taking B12 and ALA for 6 months with no improvement. When she switched to sublingual methylcobalamin, which absorbs directly under the tongue, things started changing within weeks. Less tingling, better sleep, more steadiness. Sometimes it's not what you take, it's how your body receives it. That's why understanding your digestive health, using the right forms of supplements, and timing them well can make all the difference. In the next part, we'll dig deeper into that. Coming up next, number 6. Dosing and timing, when and how to take each vitamin for best results. Because the right moment can unlock the right results. Let me ask you this. Have you ever taken your vitamins faithfully and still felt like nothing's changing? The truth is, sometimes it's not what you're taking, it's when and how you take it that makes the difference. Think of your body like a garden. You can plant the right seeds, but if you water them at the wrong time or use poor soil, they won't grow. Let's start with vitamin B1, benfotiamine. Because it's fat-soluble, it absorbs better when taken with food that contains healthy fats like avocado, olive oil, or even a couple of almonds. I usually suggest 150 to 300 milligrams, twice a day with breakfast and dinner. That steady rhythm helps keep inflammation down and nerve signals smoother. Now, alpha-lipoic acid is a little different. It competes with other nutrients for absorption, so it works best on an empty stomach. 600 milligrams, once or twice daily, about 30 minutes before your meal. That gives it time to travel freely, reducing oxidative stress and protecting nerve cells like a little shield. Vitamin B12, if you're using the sublingual methylcobalamin form, should be placed under the tongue and held there. Let it dissolve slowly. Don't swallow it too quickly. That's how it enters your bloodstream without relying on your gut. Morning is best because B12 can boost energy and alertness. Start with 1,000 to 2,000 micrograms per day. More if your doctor says so. Then there's magnesium, especially glycinate or threonate taken at night. Around 200 to 400 milligrams. It calms the nerves, helps with sleep, and supports repair while your body is resting. Pair it with a warm foot soak or herbal tea, and your system starts healing in quiet, powerful ways. And one more tip. If you're taking omega-3s like cod liver oil, take them with your fattiest meal of the day. They're fat-soluble, and that timing helps your body actually use the DHA to rebuild your brain and nerve tissue. Now I know, that might sound like a lot to remember, but once you get into a rhythm, it becomes second nature, like making coffee the same way each morning. A small note I tell my friends, keep a little chart on the fridge for the first week. Track what you took and when, and listen to how your body responds, because when you get the dosing and timing right, it's like flipping a switch. The results don't just add up, they multiply. Up next, we'll cover something equally important. Number 7. 3 common mistakes that block nerve healing, and how to avoid them starting today. Let me tell you something that took me years to learn the hard way. Sometimes it's not about what you're doing right. It's about the little things you're doing wrong, the ones you don't even realize are holding you back. So before we move forward, let's pause and clear the roadblocks that could be silently slowing your healing. Mistake number 1, skipping consistency. You know how we sometimes start strong, taking all the right vitamins for nerve repair, then forget one dose, then another, and suddenly we're back to square one. Your nerves don't heal overnight. They heal with repetition, with nourishment that's steady and reliable. Just like watering a plant, you can't do it once and expect it to bloom. A 2021 review in Neurotherapeutics confirmed that consistent daily intake of nutrients like B1, B12, and ALA led to significantly better nerve regeneration compared to occasional use. So keep going, even on the days you don't feel a big change. That's when the quiet work is happening. Mistake number 2, taking the wrong form. Not all supplements are created equal, and that's where a lot of folks get misled. Take B12, for example. Cyanocobalamin is the cheap version you'll find in many products, but methylcobalamin is what your nerves actually use. One supports healing, the other just fills a label. The same goes for ALA. Some forms are poorly absorbed. If you can, go for R-alpha-lipoic acid. It's more bioavailable and closer to what your body naturally produces. Mistake number 3, ignoring inflammation. This one's sneaky. Even if you're taking all the right nerve regeneration supplements, if your body is inflamed from sugar, seed oils, or poor sleep, the nutrients won't do their job. Inflammation blocks the door to healing. It's like trying to fix wiring while the house is still on fire. So ask yourself, are you giving your body a calm, safe space to rebuild? That might mean cutting out processed foods, taking short walks after meals, or simply getting to bed before midnight. And here's the deeper truth: none of these mistakes mean you failed. They just mean there's room for a fresh start. Because once you remove these blocks, even just one of them, you might feel something shift, a little more sensation, a little less pain, a little more hope. Coming up next, let me introduce you to someone who turned things around. Number 8. Jack's story, from numb feet to morning walks. Sometimes the best proof isn't in the science, it's in the stories of people just like us. Jack is 67. Retired electrician widower, lives outside of St. Louis. He used to be on his feet all day, climbing ladders, wiring homes, hauling gear. But about 2 years ago, he started noticing something wasn't right. His toes felt numb. Then his feet burned at night. Sometimes sharp stings would shoot up his legs out of nowhere like lightning under the skin. Doctors called it peripheral neuropathy, handed him a prescription for pain. But no one told him how to actually heal. That's when Jack started asking different questions, not just, what can I take for the pain? But, what does my body need to fix what's broken? He learned about vitamin B1, benfotiamine. He'd never heard of it before, but once he added 300 mg a day, the burning in his feet started to ease up after just 3 weeks. Then he added alpha-lipoic acid, 600 mg, twice a day. He said it felt like the fog around his nerves was starting to lift. Not overnight, but slowly, steadily. He changed breakfast too. Out went the bagels and toast. In came eggs, avocado, and wild salmon. And perhaps the biggest shift, he started walking again. Just 10 minutes after breakfast, even when his feet still tingled. Especially then. Because here's the thing Jack told me that stuck. I didn't wait to feel better before I started walking. I started walking so I could feel better. 3 months in, Jack says he feels his feet again. He still has some tingling, but now he can sense the floor beneath him. He can balance. He can walk to the mailbox without gripping the wall. And most mornings he walks to the park, grabs coffee with his neighbor Paul, and watches the sunrise. He says it's the best part of his day. Now Jack's not a doctor. He's not selling anything. But his story reminds us, your body remembers how to heal, you just need to give it what it's been missing. And that brings us to something powerful. Because healing isn't just about pills or powders. It's about how you live, how you move, how you care for your nerves day in, day out. Up next, we'll talk about the habits that quietly fuel nerve regeneration. The simple things that often make the biggest difference. Number 9. Lifestyle boosters, daily habits that enhance nerve repair. Sometimes it's not just what you take, but what you do day in and day out that flips the switch from damage to healing. Supplements can give your body tools, but lifestyle habits are what tell your body how to use them. Let's start with movement. Not intense workouts, not running marathons, just gentle, steady movement that gets blood flowing to your extremities. A 20-minute walk twice a day can improve circulation to damaged nerves, bringing in oxygen and flushing out inflammatory waste. It's like opening a window to let fresh air in. But did you know that how you eat, not just what you eat, can also shift nerve repair into high gear? Intermittent fasting is one of the most powerful tools we have. Eating all your meals within an 8-hour window. and letting your body rest the other 16 hours activates a process called autophagy. That's when your body clears out damaged cells, including misfiring nerve endings, and starts fresh. And then there's what you put on your plate. Focus on foods that are rich in omega-3s like wild-caught salmon, sardines, and flax seeds. These fats nourish the nerve sheath, the insulation around your nerves, and help with communication between the brain and your limbs. A real-life example. Barbara, 72, from Oregon started her mornings with a small protein-rich breakfast, skipped late-night snacks, and added a tablespoon of ground flax and walnuts to her oatmeal. She says her hands stopped going numb within 2 months. And don't forget the simplest medicine of all, stress relief. Chronic stress keeps your nervous system on high alert. It blocks regeneration. So whether it's quiet prayer, journaling, tai chi, or even tending your garden, find something that brings you stillness each day. Your nerves notice, they relax, and when they relax, they heal. One more surprising helper. Hot baths with Epsom salts. The magnesium seeps through your skin, calms your nerves, and promotes sleep. Add a drop of lavender oil, and you've got yourself a nervous system reset. All of these things, they may seem small, but strung together, they become the rhythm of a healing life. And now, as we wrap things up, there's one last message I want to leave you with. Because this journey is not about doing it all perfectly, it's about doing it consistently, and giving your body the chance it's been waiting for. Let's head to the final part of this video. Your nerves can heal. Give them the chance they deserve. Let's take a deep breath and look back on what we've just walked through together. You've learned that nerve damage doesn't come from just one cause. It's not only about blood sugar, but also about inflammation, oxidation, poor nutrient absorption, and daily habits that wear us down quietly over time. We've talked about powerful allies like benfotiamine, alpha-lipoic acid, and vitamin B12, each playing a unique role in restoring nerve function. You now know why some seniors struggle to absorb these nutrients, and how timing, dosage, and even stress can influence how well your body heals. You met Jack and saw what's possible not just in theory, but in real life. And maybe, just maybe, you began to picture what your own healing story could look like. So here's my suggestion to you: don't try to do everything at once. Pick one thing from today that stood out, just one, and start there. Maybe it's adding cod liver oil to your morning routine. Maybe it's walking 15 minutes after dinner. Maybe it's switching to methylated B12. Whatever it is, let that be your spark. Because healing your nerves isn't about quick fixes. It's about consistency, patience, and giving your body the tools and time to do what it's already designed to do: repair. Now, I want to ask you something simple. If this video gave you a moment of hope, if it helped you understand your body just a little better, would you tap like, or share it with someone who might be feeling stuck? And if you haven't yet, please hit subscribe. Because the next video is going to dive even deeper. We'll talk about hidden nutrient blockers in common senior medications, and what to do if your current supplements just don't seem to work. You definitely don't want to miss that. I'll see you there. And until then, take care of your nerves. They're ready to take care of you.